Growing Pains is one of the more emotional new Batman adventure episodes. I would go as far to say it stands out in that way among all of Batman the Animated Series. Tim Drake had a rough childhood, and it didn't exactly get any better from there. On patrol one night, Robin comes across a young girl being harassed by a biker gang. After saving her, the girl runs away as Robin reluctantly answers the call of the bat signal. Commissioner Gordon has gathered the dynamic duo to help catch an elusive new serial thief who the cops can't ID. While on the lookout for the perp, the Boy Wonder once again spots the young girl, who reveals she can't even remember her own name. Tim decides to call her Annie, as he does his best to calm her down. Annie is on the run from a man she doesn't recognize. She says she sees him everywhere, including her nightmares. Strangely, the girl can feel his presence when he's close. Soon enough, the man reveals himself as the same perp Gordon warned our heroes about. He claims to be Annie's father and battles Batman and Robin while trying to capture his alleged daughter. Paul Dini and Robert Goodman's story that Goodman wrote the teleplay for is a sad character-building tale for Tim Drake's Robin. We see him really care for Annie and her well-being. While searching for her at one point, he traverses Gotham's homeless areas and comes across several kids with no place to go. This affects him deeply because of his own background as the son of a criminal who didn't always provide for him. It's easy for us as an audience to understand his deep investment in this case. I feel like Tim got a lot more character-building moments in just the 5 episodes he appeared in thus far than Dick Grayson did for most of his run on BTAS. Outside of the top-notch Robin's Reckoning two-parter, Grayson's Robin isn't made much of a focus. We know that's because the creative team wanted to focus on Batman as more of a solo hero when they could. WB basically forcing them to build up more of the tertiary characters worked out in a positive way for the second Boy Wonder. The voice acting by Matthew Valencia as Drake is some of his strongest in the show. You can hear the anger when arguing with Batman and sympathy in his voice when he relates to Annie.
No!
What?
I'm not waiting around while you study dirt. I'll find her myself. My dad wasn't much of a prize either.
So that's why you care. You're the only person I can remember who ever did.
For Annie's part, Francesca Marie Smith knocks it out of the park as the mysterious, scared, and innocent runaway. You may recognize her voice, or at least I did pretty easily, as Helga Pataki from Hey Arnold. This role showed off her range well. Shout out to Michael McCuistion for giving us a heck of a musical score. There are slower, subtle movements here that really enhance the emotion of the moment. We didn't always hear that kind of stuff on TNBA, so this needs to be recognized and appreciated. The Dark Knight gathers dirt from the site of he and Robin's confrontation with the thief and takes it back to the Batcave to have it analyzed. He makes a disturbing discovery and heads off to find Tim, who's been out looking for the girl. Following an unsuccessful search for her, Annie is the one who finds Robin on a downtown Gotham street. Spotlights in the sky suddenly remind her of a location she was once at, the first thing she's remembered since meeting Robin. Tim seems to recall the place she's describing and takes her to the ocean shore, featuring a lighthouse atop a cliff in hopes of jogging her memory. The pair traverse the terrain and tunnels beneath it until they again run into the thief.
Clayface!
The kids run from the villain as Clayface tries to absorb Annie, declaring she's part of him. They eventually make their way to a factory where Annie finally remembers the truth.
What do you have to do with Clayface?
I am Clayface.
Following the events of the episode Mudslide, what was left of Clayface floated to where the factory was dumping their toxic waste. Something in the chemicals reconstructed the former Matt Hagen, but he was still weak and disoriented. So he created Annie to go out and see if it was safe to enter the surrounding area. But once the girl left him, she forgot all about her origins and wandered aimlessly on the streets of Gotham until Robin found her. Not wanting to give up on her, Drake still fights to save Annie. When he's overpowered by Clayface, the girl jumps in to rescue her friend and is absorbed by Hagen in the process. Batman then joins the scene and saves Robin before a tank of highly volatile solvent combusts, knocking Clayface out. Later, the authorities haul Hagen off in a chemical tank as a hurt Robin is consoled by Batman.
Sometimes there are no happy endings.
We'll book them on the robberies and B&E, right? Anything else?
Yeah. Murder.
Because of where this fits into the timeline, it had to have taken place before the season/series premiere, Holiday Nights. Clayface appears in that episode fighting Batgirl, already using his separate sentient being-making abilities, something we didn't see him do in BTAS. It is a disturbing new development for him, and while we can all grasp Tim's emotions here, once Annie is revealed as a part of Clayface, it becomes a tragic denial of reality. This kid's been put through the ringer, and as I mentioned at the top of the video, these traumatic events only get worse. With that said, Annie's absorption is pretty horrific.
Run, Robin! Hurry! Oh.
While this was the villain's last appearance until Justice League, I'm glad TMS returned to provide the animation services for a Clayface episode. It's not quite animated series level stuff, but this episode didn't call for quite that much detail. The characters have more contrasted lighting on them than usual, and the drama was increased because of the extra attention to the animation. Kudos to TMS for improving the emotional tale we were watching. Atsuko Tanaka directed the first of her 2 new Batman Adventure installments, and she obviously did an awesome job. One thing I noticed here is that from Superman the Animated Series on to TNBA, anytime TMS animated an episode, the credited director was from their own studio. This wasn't the case for the 6 installments of BTAS they worked on, but that was apparently the deal for all of their DCAU jobs after. Obviously, this is a big recommendation from me. It's one of Tim Drake's definitive moments and a unique story that should not be missed.
Sorry. I was thinking about a girl.
Teenagers. Glad my barber's past her wild years.